All right, Darren Parsons, we're here in beautiful Hurricane, Utah at San Carlos State Park, and we're going to run you through KC HiLiTES mild to watt. So this right here is my Gladiator. Gladiators in general form, I don't like. So that's why I decided to take a brand new $60,000 Jeep and make it into this. It's 2020, I bought it at auction out of Texas, and I took it and I put it in my garage and I chopped it up, and this is what I created with it. I took Curry Fab 9 housings, front and rear. I tabbed them out myself with their products, filled them with Evan Weller's built Gearworks 10-inch differentials, front and rear. The front's upside down. It has 543 gearing in it. Did the black Rhino Prim bead locks, 17s with, of course, BFG 40-inch KR3 race tires, the same thing that I run on my race truck. Suspension, I wanted to do something a little different. There's a couple kits out there that had a suspension kit for these that had the double shock setup in the front. They call them like double throwdown or something, but anyways, I wanted to do it differently. So I did it with 14-inch 2.5 combo in the front with a 2.5 bump stop. And then in the rear, that's where it gets really tricky, because I took the factory suspension completely off of it and I laid in a completely different set of trailing arms. Traditional style desert rear suspension with a triangulated upper forelink. So I had to relocate the fuel cell. I took the factory gas tank from the center. I put it in the back. I did a 32-gallon Jazz Jeep Speed cell with a nice cradle from Jack's Motorsports. It adds a lot of rear weight. So that's one of the things in desert that I've learned, is that you want a vehicle that has a lot of rear weight. So that was one of the things when I came to the bed. I wanted to shorten the bed because I didn't like the huge overhang. Number one, it looks dumb. Number two, it gets stuck on everything. But I still wanted the rear weight. So how do we accomplish that? So I hung a spare off the back of it as far as I could, but with it still taking only 12 inches out of the bed. It kind of gives it that custom look that it catches your eye, but you're like, hey, it's still kind of long. But that's on purpose because I want that weight as far back and as far off the butt as possible. I was able to accomplish that. I ended up with a 50-50 weight ratio, which is really good. It's not as good as it could have been, but that's pretty good. Rear shocks, the 16-18 combo, 16-inch 2.5 coilover, and a 18-inch 3.5 finned 5.2 bypass shock. Anyways, with a 2.5 bump stop as well. Of course, same wheel combo in the back. On the front suspension, I wanted to utilize some parts. So I wanted it to be Jeep. I had so many people wanting me to make this thing into a twin traction beam setup, but I didn't really want to do that because I wanted to keep it solid axle Jeep. I know that I can make a solid axle work. My XJ killed it with the solid axle setup. So Rubicon Express long arm kit, it gives you a real nice cross member that Nick Eisenhower himself welded for me. Up under the hood of it, we did a Magnuson supercharger. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more, my XJ, I did a Magnuson supercharged built LS in it. It was like 600 horsepower, it was great. It killed it off-road. But on this one, I wanted it to be a lot more streetable. I wanted my wife to be able to hop in it and drive it, not worry about it or anything. And so I went with the Magnuson on the 3.6, 440 horsepower with an 8-speed transmission. This thing's super efficient, it gets the job done really well. On into the interior. This is another thing that really set it apart from everyone else. No one else had done this to this point. I cut the actual cage out of it and I built my own roll cage that ties into the rear chassis on it. So it's kind of cool. It isn't like a race cage. It's race inspired is what I like to label it, because it is a cage that will save us if we were ever to wreck it, but it's not something that's going to be race legal if I was to go pull up to a start for a score race or something like that. Did PRP seats, the Enduro Elites in the front with Moto-Built sliders. These things are really cool. It's not something that's easily done, really. These factory seats have the side airbags, have the weight sense, map sensors under the pads. It's really a pain in the butt, but figured out how to shoehorn them in there and make it all work. Rugged radios for the communications, as always. The M1 in this thing, killer. I did the HiLiTES display with Rockford stereo system. This thing has a ridiculous stereo in it. It absolutely rocks. Did Motobilt sliders, did the Motobilt bumper as well on the front of it, which I was able to tie the Smittybilt Gen 3 12K winch into seamlessly, and my favorite, 3 Flex Era 4s. So I did a combo and a pencil in the front, and then up on top I did pencil beams on both sides. I want that spot beam to be able to see out. I don't like the reflection off the hood, so that's why I did the spots. Got the bed of it. I had to build a custom tub in it. So I actually made these fenders to go on the inside so that we could make this sway bar setup work. This is the same sway bar that I run on my race truck. It's Kibitech built arms. They're really nice, 60, 61 billet aluminum arms tied into the same, again, sway bar that I run on my race truck, 1.5" solid bar. And it really keeps this thing planted well when I'm out off-roading it. And it still has a functional bed, so it's kind of cool. We always run around with this Smittybilt fridge in the back, and it's awesome to be able to freaking keep your popsicles in there for the girls and have the other side for the grapes and drinks and everything else that the family requires. KC chase bar on there. I have it tied into the third brake light and running lights and turn signals, and it's super cool to have that light up tall, because one of the things that's most important about off-roading at night is being able to be seen when you're leading the pack, especially because these cars are coming up behind you, and if you only have taillights a lot of times, they can't see that light down low, so you got to get a light up high. Went with the chase bar up there, made a custom mount off of the roll cage for it, and it's worked out great so far. I think that's pretty much it. So this is my Jeep Gladiator, and it went from mild to wild, and you guys tuned in to KC HiLiTES, you'll be able to see it here and check out other builds as well.